Okay.
Traditionally, we've used seat belts to install car seats.
Okay.
But seat belts are made for people. Seat belts are made so that we can move around in them.
Right.
And what we were finding was that parents were having a very difficult time installing their seat correctly.
And getting it tight enough.
Exactly.
As a parent. I mean, I recall how difficult that is.
Exactly.
Okay.
So manufacturers, both car manufacturers and car seat manufacturers, started using a system called latch. And this is lower anchors and tethers for children.
Okay.
And all vehicles that are manufactured after 2001 have the latch system in them, and all car seats also have the latch system on them.
Okay.
So rather than using a seat belt, now, sure.
Okay.
Now there is a strap built right into the car seat that has 2 hooks on it.
Okay.
All right. And built right into what we call the bite of the seat are anchor points. And that's where these hooks go. And all a parent has to do is put some weight in the seat and pull up on the strap. And now the seat is tight.
That makes it easier.
Much
that
easier.
Sounds like a much easier way to ensure
it is.
that it's
and
secure.
We found that once latch became available for parents, there were more parents who were able to install their car seat correctly.
Okay.
And that's still an issue.
Right.
Out in the community, we still see about a good 80 to 85% of seats either not installed correctly or the child's not riding in them correctly. So that's why we really try to get out to educate parents all over the community.
Right. And that really speaks to it being more than a law. It's not enough to just have a law, right? We need to
educate people, and raise awareness about the importance and why it's so important.
Right, right.
When we're talking about a child being in a forward-facing position, the harness straps are really key.
Okay.
And rear-facing too. Harness straps need to be straight, not all twisted up as we see some kids riding around. Snug, and snug means I can slide my finger under, but if I can pinch that harness strap, there's too much slack.
Okay.
And a lot of times we see children come in to a car seat check and they've got the harness straps on, but they can climb right out. Right. And a lot of parents will come and say, you know, my 2-year-old is climbing right out of his seat and I don't know what the problem is. Well, usually that's the problem.
Okay.
Usually these straps are too loose, and this is what we call the harness clip.
Okay.
This clip belongs right at armpit level, whether that child's riding rear-facing or forward-facing.
Okay.
And those are the 2 things that are going to really keep that child in the seat the way they should be in the seat.
And this is what's referred to as a 5-point, is that correct?
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 points of contact.
Okay.
This is how race car drivers ride, and really is the safest way for everybody to ride.
So we should have it.
Quite someday, maybe in our cars, we'll have a 5-point harness instead of the regular 3-point that we have in the car right now.
Okay.
So it's really important that we look at the harness straps being straight and snug. The harness clip is in the right place. And these, if you notice, there are slots. A number of them.
Right.
We call these harness slots.
Your child grows into it.
Exactly. As the child gets taller, in a forward-facing position, these straps belong at or above shoulder level. In a rear-facing position, they're at or below shoulder level. All right.
Okay.
So the same slots are used. It just depends on the position of the seat itself.
Okay.
Now, when a child, this particular seat, the harness straps are rated up to 40 pounds. And then there's a height limit also on the seat. And every single car seat has those restrictions or those limits. And they're different. But there's a label right on the side of the there's a label right on the side of the car seat that tells you what those limits are. So it's very important for parents to be aware of that.
Right.
Because if their child gets to be 41 pounds in this seat, then this seat is no longer appropriate for them because it was crash tested up to 40 pounds. Okay.
Got it. Okay.
So once a child has reached the limits on this seat, then the next step would be to move them into a booster seat and use the vehicle's seatbelt. And we'll be able to demonstrate that also.
Great.
I'm tall enough to reach the light switches. I'm big enough to brush my teeth by myself. I'm the tallest kid in my class. I haven't worn diapers in years. I'm much less likely to vomit at random now. My cups don't have lids anymore. Mine either. I'm getting pretty big. But to help me survive a car crash, I still need you to give me a boost.
Until they're 4'9", use a booster seat in the car and don't let them down.
let's talk about boosters then, Diana, and we have a visitor here today.
Right, this is Cameron, and Cameron's going to help us demonstrate the importance of booster seats. But before we get started with that, I just want to mention that there are two different types of booster seats.
Okay.
There's a high back booster like this, and there's a booster seat like Cameron is sitting in that has no back.
Okay.
They both serve exactly the same purpose, and that purpose is to boost the child up, hence the name, so that the seatbelt fits them correctly. All right. The only need for a high back booster would be in a vehicle that does not have a headrest, because we want to make sure that a child's head gets that same support that we get from the headrest. So a lot of back seats, especially older cars, don't have headrests, or they might actually have some of those molded built-in headrests. And once you put a child in a booster seat, if their head or neck is above that headrest or above the back of the seat, you would want to make sure that they have a high back booster behind them to support them.
Got it. And remind us again of the weight that we're going to be moving into this stage.
Right. This would be a minimum of 40 pounds.
Okay.
And both of these booster seats go up to 100 pounds.
Okay.
All right, so
I'll take that for you.
Okay, great. So Cameron's here to help us understand the importance of booster seats. And Cameron is 7 years old, all right? And as I mentioned before, the law in New Jersey says that you remain in a booster seat until you are 8 years old or 80 pounds. But we really try to impress upon parents is that proper seatbelt fit is key. So a child might get to be 8 or 80 pounds and might still need that booster seat, and we're going to demonstrate why or how. Can you grab that seatbelt, please, and bring it over, and we're going to get you buckled in, okay? I'll help you.
Great.
Okay, great. Now, if you notice, Cameron's sitting up nice and straight and tall in her booster seat, and the seatbelt is coming across her chest, which is where it should be. It should be going from a hard bone to another hard bone.
Okay.
And we teach kids and parents that seatbelts make contact on hard bones, not on soft tummies. So also notice that the lap belt is down around her hips. It's not riding across her belly. And she can bend her legs over the edge of the seat, so they're not sticking straight out. This is how a child should look in a seatbelt. Whether they've got the booster seat or not, that's what it should look like. Okay? Now, Cameron, what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to hop out of there. I'll hold on here. And I'm going to take the booster seat out, and now what I'd like you to do is climb back up. Great. And again, we're going to ask you to sit up nice and straight and tall and buckle yourself in, okay? Okay. Now, if you look, here's the difference. Now the seatbelt is riding up on Cameron's neck.
Right.
Not a good place for a seatbelt to be riding.
Right.
Because if you get in a crash, now we're going to see injury to the neck.
Right. And it certainly serves no purpose to actually hold her back, does
Right.
it? It's not even in a spot that it could hold her
Right.
back. Okay.
And the lap belt is now riding up on her belly. And not only is your belly here, but you've got a lot of internal organs here. So we see children come into the emergency department who have not been properly restrained. They have injuries to their neck, and they have internal injuries. And that's all from the seatbelt.
Wow.
All right. And if you also notice, Cameron can't bend her legs over the edge of the seat anymore.
Right.
So in order for a child to be ready to move out of that booster seat, we tell parents to do the safety belt fit test, which is what we just did. We checked to see if Cameron was ready to move out of that booster seat. Now, Cameron is only 7 years old, and she doesn't weigh 80 pounds yet, so she, by law, isn't ready. But let's just say it was next July, and it was Cameron's birthday, and she wants to move, and she's this size. Exactly. Then we know that Cameron's, even though she's met the law requirements, she still needs to be in that booster seat until the seatbelt fits her correctly. And when it fits her correctly, then she doesn't need the booster seat anymore.
Right. You know, Diane, I think that's so important, even though it's the law. And that's such an important message, I think, that you're getting out, that, okay, so the law says they can, but if your child is slightly smaller or slightly, you know, under that weight, it's not going to work, and it wouldn't be appropriate.
And unfortunately, our law doesn't talk about height. And that's really the key to booster seat use and to seatbelts fitting you correctly. Because, you know, I'm a somewhat short person, and I get into some vehicles where the seatbelt doesn't fit me correctly. And if it's not adjustable, it's a problem. So we especially want to make sure when we have the tools available, like a booster seat, that we use them for our children so that we know the seatbelt fits them correctly and they're riding as safely as possible.
Excellent. Those are really great descriptions, and thank you so much for demonstrating for us, Cameron. Now, this being National Child Passenger Safety Week is coming up this month. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what's happening?
Sure. Basically, this is an opportunity for us to educate and raise awareness about the importance of car seats and booster seats and seat belts, and that the entire family should be riding as safely as possible. Seatbelt Seat Check Saturday is on September 25th, and across the nation there will be seat checks held out in communities.
Okay.
We will be holding one in New Brunswick. Our location isn't quite determined yet, but people can certainly visit our website and we'll be able to find that out.
And we'll have it on ours as well.
Great.
So, okay.
And like I said, it's an opportunity for us to really raise awareness about this issue and hopefully educate
Excellent.
parents so that they can make sure that their whole family is riding as safely as possible.
Great. Now, you had mentioned that there's a location that's doing this consistently at Rutgers.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Rutgers runs a child safety seat inspection and education station,
okay.
and that is on Davidson Road, 129 Davidson Road in Piscataway.
Excellent.
And it is open every Wednesday morning from 7 to 11, every Thursday afternoon from 3 to 7 in the afternoon, and then every first Saturday of the month from 9 to 1. Parents don't need an appointment. They're just encouraged to make an attempt at installing their car seat and then go over and let someone who's a certified technician actually go through that installation with them and make sure that they did it the right way.
That's excellent. That's great. And we'll have that information again on our website
Wonderful.
as well. And I would also like to mention to viewers that the Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital, is going to be offering a free booster seat. And the way you can go about receiving this is if you take a few minutes to go on to the Middlebrook Regional Health Commission's website, and that's middlebrookhealth.org. If you go on that website, there's a link for you to give us some feedback, to just take a very quick survey to tell us what you thought about the show, other things you'd like to hear, and anyone who enters into that and completes that survey will be entered into a raffle to win a free booster seat from Robert Wood Johnson.
Right.
So we thank you for that.
Sure.
We'll do that drawing. Well, thank you. At the end of September, maybe early October, probably we'll do that. And in addition, if you don't have access to a computer or can't get online, you can also call our office. And the number for the Middlebrook Regional Health Commission is area code 732-356-8090. And we'll have that number and other information at the end of the program as well. So Diana, thank you so much for joining us. I don't know if there was anything additional you wanted to add about your programs.
No, I think that's great. And Cameron, thank you so much for coming and helping us out today.
Thank you. All right. And thank you very much for watching. Have a great week.